New World Order will fall. Humanity will defeat you. The answer to 1984 is 1776.
Your take, Governor, on what's happening right now with our economy and these private banks being bailed out.
Well, it's wrong, but, how do you stop it? When the powers to be are all in bed with them. And that's the difficult thing and why I'm calling for a revolution in my book. It's time to take our country back, and the only way you're truly going to do that is to depower both the Democrat and Republican parties, who to me are each as bad as each other. The same lobbyists lobby both sides, so they got both sides covered. It doesn't matter who wins.
So you were able to at least do something in Minnesota. What are your recommendations just to the people? You say don't start a revolution without me. What are your...
Stop, vote with your heart and your conscience, stop being a lemming, and start voting for people that don't belong to these two parties. And I know people say, well, that's impossible. Your vote is wasted then. No, it's not. A wasted vote is not voting your heart and conscience for the candidate that you think would do the best job for you. And if we would all break this mold of somehow thinking that, and stop the Democrats and Republicans in their two-party dictatorship that's going on in this country, and start voting for third-party candidates, start electing people that are not part of this system that we have.
We were talking during a break, and you said Obama's the best of the three, and I tend to agree. But it's kind of like, the best of three latrines. He is for the establishment on every issue, but he did vote right on the war, so we got to hand him, that. But your take on this race, Barack Obama, Hillary, bomb, Iran, McCain?
Well, first of all, McCain has already said that we'll stay in Iraq for 100 years if we have to, so that eliminates him from any consideration on my part. The problem with Hillary is this. If you count when George H.W. Bush was vice president with Reagan, we have had only, in the administration, we've had only Bushes and Clintons since 1980 now. That's 28 years. Are we a dual monarchy? Because if Hillary gets elected for 2 terms, that's another eight years of Clintons, which will be more than half of my adult life.
Well, Bush is even
56 years old, and we've had Clintons and Bushes in the White House since over half of the time that I've been allowed to vote.
That's a good point. When Reagan got in with his VP, how old were you in 1980?
In 1980, I would have been I was born in 51. So I don't know. Do the math. I've been up since 4:30.
That's more than half your life.
Yeah, it's more than half of my life. We've had Bushes or Clintons only, or part of the White House or the administration. And now, if Hillary gets elected, that's 4 or 8 more years of it. And I think that in all this great land of ours, we should have more than just 2 families who are qualified to serve as president.
I agree with you, and that brings me into the next subject. You have boldly spoken out, as a soldier yourself, understanding how firearms operate, that the Kennedy situation with JFK is a cover-up. I know you've been on a book tour, but the BBC came out on Monday with video footage and photos from the Ambassador Hotel. And they had, 4 different former CIA colleagues watch the film footage and say, that's the known CIA officers from Southeast Asia and the known CIA officers that on his deathbed, E. Howard Hunt said were involved in killing JFK. He was running the operation. I, by the way, folks, have the only video of that. It hasn't been released yet. I'm going to put it in a film I'm making about JFK. Got it from his son, St. John Hunt. So now we even have the film footage of them there at the Ambassador Hotel. We have this individual, Caesar, shooting him in the back 4 times.
You're talking Robert now, right?
Yes, Robert Kennedy. So I'm just giving the listeners some background here. But now with Robert Kennedy, even the BBC and NBC are saying the CIA killed him. A, are you aware of those revelations? And B, your comment, not just on JFK, but RFK.
Well, I certainly have studied the JFK murder much more than the RFK murder because when I was wrestling, it was interesting that I flew a lot. And so one day I picked up a book on the JFK, one of the conspiracy books, and I got hooked on it because it's far more intriguing than anything Tom Clancy could even write about. And so I've studied it for years and years. I believe totally that Howard Hunt and the same people that did Watergate are the ones who were instrumental in killing John F. Kennedy. What I found interesting, though, is this. Do you remember when LBJ announced that he would not seek nor would he accept his nomination for a second term as president?
In 1967, yes, sir.
Exactly. Isn't it, do you think it's just coincidence that a mere 3 days later Robert F. Kennedy was assassinated?
Oh,
and
no.
that opened the door for Richard Nixon?
Absolutely, but now, I mean, the coroner in L.A. always said he was shot 4 times in the back with a different caliber than what Sirhan was shooting. Sirhan only got 1 shot off before they grabbed him and aimed the gun at the floor, and he still squeezed off the rounds. And then you've got this known CIA operative who was behind Robert Kennedy when he then got shot 3 times in the back and once in the back of the head. And now we have the film footage analyzed and the CIA colleagues who worked with the 3 operatives who were on film there. I mean, it's open and shut.
I think so, and I think John F. Kennedy, to me, if you take that also from a standpoint of very basic common sense, okay, they want us to believe that Oswald was this disgruntled little Marine who became Marxist-Leninist, ran off to Russia, defected, married a Russian woman, came back, hated our policy on Cuba, decided to get famous and shoot the president, right?
It's incredible.
Well, first of all, then if that's true, then why would anything have to be locked up because of national security? Because I was a Navy SEAL with a top-secret security clearance when I was in, and I certainly knew a few things, but I didn't know that much that would require the majority of everything, including my tax records, to be locked up because of national security. But now, if you were involved in a secret CIA, shall we say, espionage program of false defection over to Russia, well, then certainly you would have knowledge and documentation that probably should be locked up because of
here's the proof.
security. Here's
the proof. 3 years ago, because it is 40-something years later, they did release his CIA control number. He was at the U-2 spy base in Japan, and then when he defected back to the U.S., they didn't even debrief him. They just let him come right back into the country with his bride, as if he'd just defected and been an evil traitor. They just let him back in.
Well, actually, that isn't quite true because he disappeared in Amsterdam for a couple days, and it was there, I believe, that he went to a CIA safe house.
No, I know, but I mean, officially, they say they just let him in. You're right.
Exactly.
You're right.
Officially, they say he just got in, but if you follow it closely, you'll realize that he spent a couple days in Holland, and I think that's where it took place at a safe house.
Governor Ventura, you end your book talking about, with a fake news headline saying, while independent presidential candidate Jesse Ventura is in a coma for the 4th consecutive day, clung to life with family members gathered at his side, a White House press spokesman denied mounting allegations that accused assassin Raul Santana was part of a wider plot. One entry reads, what are you saying at the end of the book with that statement?
Well, what I'm saying is the book is factual all the way till the last chapter, and I'm kind of throwing it out there. I hope I don't ruin it for everybody, but the last chapter is fiction, and I use myself as an example, and here's what I'm saying. I believe very strongly that if an independent candidate like myself, a rogue, were to get into the president's race legitimately, if the polls believed it looked like he had a chance to win, I believe that candidate would either be physically assassinated or would be assassinated credibility-wise or in some manner by our government, because I do not believe they would ever allow a true independent or a citizen to become president of the United States. And I would say, and I say this in all seriousness, watch out Barack Obama.
Absolutely. Incredible revelations from Jesse the Mind Ventura, Governor Ventura. Final segment coming up, sir, but not just the book, Don't Start a Revolution Without Me. Any personal websites or other places you want to give out?
No, not really. Just, again, I look forward to people hopefully waking up in this country and stop being a lemming. Stop being lemmings. And shows like yours, Alex, can help prevent this.
Well, let's talk about how we prevent it, how we stand up to the oligarchy on the other side. Final segment with Governor Jesse Ventura. I'm Alex Jones, Infowars.com.